it's your girl, Kendell Lenice, Lady Motivator here, and thank you so much for tuning into my show. This is a special show for YouTube. As you know, I have a lot of shows going on, and my guest and I just laughed at that earlier. This is a very familiar guest to those of you who follow me. He has been on my show, Conversations with Kendell Lenice. He has been on my podcast, Shine with Kendell Lenice. And now he is right here on my YouTube channel. That is Brother Calvin D.Tucker Jr. Welcome to Kendell Lenice Live.
Turn up. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much for continuing to support me, and I support you. And, you know, this is just a supportive situation here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sensei, for bringing me on all your platforms.
Absolutely. When I see somebody who is talented, who is out there on the grind trying to get it, who his faith is up here, you know, he believes in God, you know, everything that he does, you're super talented. You know this. You know this.
Thank you. Thank you, Queen.
You're so welcome. All right, Brother Calvin, we are going to get into some old-fashioned conversation today. But before we get started, tell the people where they can find you on IG and all your social media platforms.
Everybody, you can find me at www.calvinthespecialist.com. Instagram is Calvin, the number 2, and then ENT. So Calvin2 ENT on Instagram. On Facebook is a long name, my whole name, Brother Calvin D.Tucker Jr. That's how you can find me. On YouTube, type in Brother Calvin Live, and then my whole page will come up.
All right. You know, I wanted to get that out the way because once we get into the conversation, I don't want to reach the end of the show and we forgot because we were so wrapped up in this conversation. All right,
Thank
Brother Calvin, I want to start first just with your name, because I find it interesting and other people probably do too. I know you've explained it to me before, but tell our audience why you go by Brother Calvin D.Tucker Jr. Why is the brother important to you?
The brother is very important to me because growing up as a young man in the Black Baptist church, everybody was sister and brother, you know, just starting off. But then when I understood my anointing and entertainment ministry getting a little older, I tried to figure out how to brand myself without making a completely different person. A lot of people would try to make up a nickname, put a Greek name together, and create a name. And I was like, how do I brand, however, stay the same? So I went through a couple of phases with my name. First, it was I'm a preacher as well. And so I didn't want the industry to get confused with who I am as a talent and not know my ministry calling and be surprised when I don't do something or I don't want to be a part of a certain process. So I left my name as Minister Calvin D.Tucker Jr. or Minister Calvin.
Right.
That would help people just understand, you know, why I don't want to just be on the cover in underwear and nothing else. People still didn't get it. I would explain it. That's why I was Minister. So then I was like, okay, I want to be more international and more even keel, where is you know, it's just, so brother kept sticking with me. Like I grew up being called brother. And so that's what stuck. Brother Calvin.
Brother Calvin, I love that. And you touched briefly on it. For those of you that don't know Brother Calvin D.Tucker Jr., he is multifaceted. He is a model. He is a broadcaster. He is a content creator. I mean, what else are you? Let's talk about all of those titles, and I want to talk about them for a reason. Although we're not into titles, but it is what it is. And the reason why you put the brother on it, you touched on it a little bit. You said because you didn't want to model in underwear. Elaborate on that.
Right, and I thank you for saying that, because I'm not into titles in terms of the glamour that comes with it or the clout. But I'm into the titles because every title that I have is the work ethic behind it. So in that sense, I am into the title. If I'm declaring a title, you got to know you can pull up anything online and find the fruits of that labor. You know, it's not just lip service. But earlier in my modeling career, when I graduated from college and asked myself, am I really going to pursue this career in modeling, even though it's an industry that predominantly sells sex? And I said, well, it's been going pretty well so far, so let's go ahead and jump in. You either go hard or you go nowhere. So
Right.
I jumped in, and to my surprise, I didn't have as much static as I did. However, the static that I experienced was something I didn't even know was coming. So I had professionals in the industry from here to New York tell me, basically you're not a real model if you don't want to model in just underwear or do shirtless modeling. And so let me back up just a little bit. On my first modeling resume, I had at the bottom where it had special skills and notes, I had does not do nude or implied nude modeling. Because in my head, coming in the door, if you knew that, then you wouldn't waste your time or your money if you had a nude project and you booked me. You get what I'm saying? I didn't want to show up on set. Now you done paid a flight. You done got me there. And we wasting production time and resources now. That I feel like that could have messed up my reputation. But I had a mentor at the time who's a designer and a creative director here in Baltimore, actually, who I was an apprentice for. And he saw my resume and he said, you need to take this off your resume. We debated about it. I ended up taking it off. But it took me a while.
What? To
take that line off. Sorry, he wanted me to take the line out where I said what I don't do. And I asked him why. He said, you don't ever want to apply for a gig, coming in the door telling somebody what you don't do. Kind of like what I was telling you offline about the word you. So saying what I don't do coming in the door is like you're limiting what they can do. And in my head, I debated it. I'm like, that's technically true if I was saying I don't wear blue, which is out of control.
Right.
You don't have control over that. I'm talking about something that affects me, my faith, where I stand, my principles as a man. That's different.
And your integrity.
Exactly.
Your integrity. That's your character. And what God has for you, God is going to have for you, whether you have it on that resume or not. Let's be clear.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, so him and I to this day debate over stuff. I wasn't a real model. He was like, you won't be considered a real model unless you do implied nude, because in his mind, he had a New York mentality. Everybody's doing whatever they want, whatever they're being told to get to the top or succeed. And so they don't know any better. Or some people weren't raised with principles like me. But
That's right.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was asking myself, if I wasn't a preacher, would I still do nude and implied nude? And I was thinking, I'm like, maybe, because I know it's different as so if I wasn't a Christian and on the R&B side or the singing side, I would be that R&B singer that's taking his shirt off. I would be Jodeci by myself. I'd be tanked by my, you know what I'm saying? That's just honesty. But and then here's where the hypocritical side kind of sounds like it is prevalent, because the reality is in a movie role, a television role, I would do a shirtless role, because if I'm in the bed with my wife at the time in the movie and the house gets broken into 3 a.m, I'm probably not gonna have on anything but underwear or pajama pants anyway in real life. So in theater and acting, you're portraying real life, a story. In modeling, you're selling clothes. I became a model to sell garments. And that's great. And I'm not downing anybody else that does nude or underwear. A lot of my friends, mentees, they do underwear and all that. I'm not downing it, but at the same time, respect where I stand. If I'm not on the campaign saying y'all all going to hell, then why come for me? Like, they were coming for me, like, and I was like, so does it make you so upset? I was talking to a different photographer in New York. We're still associates to this day. We argued over that, and he broke it down for me in a way that I had never heard. And he said, because I'm in New York, the fashion capital, where, these young boys will do anything to get to the top. Tell them drop your clothes.
People sell their soul just to be in a magazine or just to be on a television show where you don't even see them. Just to put it on their resume builders. They will sell their souls, especially in the industry. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And so when he explained it like that, I was like, that makes sense. Thank you for breaking it down like that. And I said, but with that same note, just use them. They said, well, you have the body for it.
Yeah.
That's why it's frustrating. I'm like, okay, thank you. But
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you.
But but as a man, I appreciate you having standards,
Mhm.
because you hear about women often with standards and certain things that, now we know there's some women out there, their standards are little minute, but you have women with standards, and I've heard of women taking a stand and say, look, I'm not going to do this, this, and this to
Mhm.
compromise my integrity. But with men, I don't hear that often.
Mhm.
And why do you think that is?
Because now of course I can't give a general answer. I just feel
Mm-hmm.
like um so you're saying, why don't you hear men saying that they won't compromise?
No, you know how you hear women saying, I have standards, there are things that
Mhm.
I won't, there are things that I will do. But for some reason, people think men don't have standards, but men do have standards. So just in general, and I know you can't speak for all men, you can speak
Mhm.
for Brother Calvin, but
Right.
there are going to be men listening. You know what? I appreciate that brother. I respect that brother because he has standards. He has
Right.
integrity, and his walk with God is important to him. And there's certain things that he will and won't do. Tell me why you think that the myth is men don't have standards as women do.
I think it's because
Just
it's myth.
across the board.
Yeah, I think it's myth built on top of myth built on top of myth. So if you think about the fitness community, right? Your average commercial, or your average, if somebody's making fun of somebody in the gym, or comedians doing a set about dudes at the gym, it's always a
Hmm.
dude that's flexing in the mirror, trying to show his muscles, shirt
Yeah.
off, or walking somewhere and is trying to walk in a store with their shirt off. Always trying to show off and be accepted or flex every muscle. Boys
Yeah.
on TV shows, like young teenage boys or preteens, they'll be in the mirror with their dad, like, look at my muscle.
Right.
Even as a boy, I did that with my father. Look at my muscle. Swore my father down I was gonna be taller than him. Stuff like that. So that built on top of a lot of the women that are always the loudest are usually the ones that end up doing what they say they weren't doing anyway.
Right.
That
Right.
now
Right.
that's something they'll tell you anyway. And what I was told in New York was that in terms of bisexual and gay men in the fashion industry, why they try heterosexual men is because it's a game to a lot of them to see which ones are fronting, which ones are
Mm,
down low. Because
mm,
a lot of them say, well,
mm.
I won't do this. And then when you get them there, they
Yeah.
have techniques in a process that will, slowly join. And they explained it to me. And even those who are still straight but don't want to do nude or implied, they
I
have
believe.
manipulative processes that they go through. That they'll be like, okay, all right, now unbutton your shirt. It's like a slow thing, like they slow walk to press limits,
Yeah.
and then they push past that one, and then they keep on pushing. So either the person is all the way over to the left with them, or wiles out and wants to fight them, or wants to leave, or whatever. It's one of the extremes
Yeah.
they're pushing for, so they can know for themselves. It's just something they do, and I've been told that by somebody in the industry who is um, gay. So I was like, okay, and then somebody else confirmed it. I'm
Wow.
like, I mean, I can understand that logic in terms of being curious, but not the disrespectful edge of continuing to go. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just
Yeah.
real. But I mean, yeah, I feel
You
like
may
men.
you brought up
Mhm.
no, go ahead. Now I'll ask you I just want you to finish that thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, so to go back to the men, I just feel like it's just a stigma. You will rarely hear a man say that. That's true. I think about in your life, if you've been at work in the break room, or if you've been at a networking event, or anything, or any television show, if you watched any group you've been a part of, and the
Mm-hmm.
conversations have been flowing. Think about a time when you've heard a
Yeah.
man say, "I told them I'm not doing that," or
Right. Because
like
men
you
are
hardly hear it.
usually, I'm up for everything. I'm game for everything. What you got? That's the myth. That
Down for
men are
whatever,
up for everything. I'll do whatever. Exactly. Down for
risk taking,
whatever. But there are a
risk
lot of
taking.
men. There you go. There you
Mhm.
go. There you go. So I appreciate that about you. I don't know if I've ever told you on all these platforms, but I do. I appreciate
Mhm.
that about you. I appreciate your integrity in that business. And
Thank
so
you.
let's just, even though we're not going to brag on titles, but I do want to be clear and let the viewers know what you do exactly. So just run it down the line, and then we're going to switch gears into love.
Okay.
We're going to talk about love and relationships, but
Okay.
and then we're going to close out your
Okay.
career. But just let's talk about some of the things that you've done and some of your titles, just because they need to know.
Okay. Well, the title that everything falls under is entertainment specialist. That's why the site is calvinthespecialist.com. And I have it broken down in terms of priority. So, after actor. I'm in the union. That's that cup right there. SAG after. Amen. So I'm an actor.
Amen.
That's the primary. Ha! Won't he do it? A published model. That's secondary. And again, whichever order God chooses to flip at any time as well. But in terms of me being diligent, acting, modeling, and then on the last page lines everything else up. Creative director, that's more so creative fashion director, and content creating is all in there. In terms of creative concepts for fashion shoots, fashion shows, concerts, things of that nature, helping people fine tune their ideas as well for their project. That's also called a project manager, but I haven't really delved all the way into that lane yet, but it touches into project management. Let's see, rapper, songwriter, singer. I do my own choreography from time to time, so dancing is one of the secrets. Yeah, hey. That's one of my insecurities, but my passion at the same time. I grew up dancing in the Baltimore City Christian Warriors marching band all the way through, so I dive back into that from project to project. I'm a preacher as well, preacher of the gospel. What else? A menswear designer and stylist.
And everything you do, and the reason why I wanted you to name it, I'm going to, of course, allow you to continue, but the reason why I wanted you to name everything you did is to show the integrity goes across the board. Like your integrity level and the things you do and the things that you won't do. See, people might hear different titles and say, well, then he might compromise over there a little bit, or he might over there. But I wanted you to name everything you do and you've done to really show that you can set that standard for yourself, and that is your brand across the board.
Thank you. And that's one thing that if you ask anybody, I don't care if they like me or don't like me, you ask them about my professionalism, no one can give you anything that's dirt. They may can give you a mistake I may have made, or they make but no one can tell you I'm doing shady business or I don't show up knowing what I'm supposed to do. I'm not willing to learn. Nobody can say that. And that's because of my parents and how I was raised. Work ethic. If you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it.
And do it right.
I don't care if you want to do backflips
and don't embarrass us.
Right.
And don't embarrass us either.
You better not.
Right. Don't be out there acting a fool. You know how you were raised, boy.
All day. Yeah.
All right. So talking about that and all that you do and who you are as a person, and over the years I've gotten to know who you are from a distance and up close and personal just by sitting down to speak with you. So now we inject love and relationships. I want to talk about that with you, and I want to hear it from a male's point of view. It's not about bashing women or anybody that you've been with in the past. I want to be clear. But I was so happy for you when I saw that you were in a relationship and you were taking all of these beautiful pictures. She was beautiful. You're beautiful. And I was just so happy for you. And I even reached out to you and said, hey, you guys need to come on and really talk about love because I see what you're doing. And then you tell me today what had happened. And I'll let you take it from there.
Well, thank you for the compliments. Yeah, I don't think anybody that's in their right mind goes into a exclusive, intentional relationship with the intent on breaking up. That's just my take on it. They'll call it other stuff. They'll say we just chilling or we're friends. Or they'll give it other names when they're not really trying to go there. But when you try to go there and you stamp relationship, I don't think either person is thinking, let's prepare for when we gonna break up. So that being
Right.
said, before I met my last girlfriend, I hadn't been in a serious relationship for over 8 years. Wasn't it 8? It
Yeah.
was like 8 years before her, a serious relationship. And so, and
Why?
hers was
Because
like
you
6 or 7.
you have integrity, and
That
you're
and
selective, have standards, right?
right, that
Across the
and
board.
some of the trees I was barking up was the wrong ones. They weren't feeling me too. So it's not just like I am. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like that. I mean,
Right.
part of it was they were either too young, too old. Like the Wendy Williams clip that had happened. That story is real.
Wait.
Um,
You can't just skim on. Wait, pause. You can't just say, oh yeah, when I was on Wendy Williams. So we're gonna talk about. Remind me to talk. We're gonna circle
okay,
back
yeah,
around
we'll bring
to
that
that.
back.
But,
Yeah,
okay, all right.
yeah. But I told a story on there about a cougar, but a cougar, like 50 and 60 years old. But that's how.
Hey, I'll be 50. Wait, I'll be 50 next year. Come on now.
All right, but you gotta understand, at the time that stuff was going on, I was in my early 20s. I'm 36 now.
Okay. Oh,
And then in the Wendy show I
yeah.
was still in
Okay.
my 30s, but those stories were from early 20s. I still get hit on by older women, but back then, 50 and 60 at 20, that's a little heavy.
Yeah, that's not cool. Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Although there are a lot of women out there, but I feel you on that. I do.
Right. And so I thought it was God because of how we met. So we work at the same school. And so I never imagined dating anybody I worked with. Never had before. But the job that I worked before I came to this school, my sister's job, I tried to holler at one of the girls there. That didn't really work out. So that was the only time I tried it, and I was really just trying to test the waters. Like, she was pretty. I was like, okay, what's up? But my last girlfriend and I, we worked together, and then we would speak all the time. And then I saw her personality, and then our vibe started to grow. I was like, oh, snap. And it was just, snowballed after that. You know, so we had known each other for a year. This month is actually our 4th month anniversary of being an official couple.
Mm.
It was. So we had dated and next month would have been the year of our first time we ever went out. Next month, in May 5th or May 15th, because it was my
I'm
brother-in-law's birthday
impressed that
party.
I'm impressed as a guy that you're remembering all these dates. But
When I love hard. I'm telling you, I was in. I was
yes,
in.
I
You
can
understand
tell.
what I'm saying? I'm not. Like, I've had friends down through the years. I've never been a more than a one-woman man, though. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't afford it. I don't have the brain power to shake and shift. I ain't built like that, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to be built like that, to be honest. That's just not me. Anyway, so when we started to have our static, it was communication. And by
Mhm.
communication, I mean understanding the cadences, the emotions behind how each one of us communicates.
Mhm.
That's the foundation of it. Trying to pick up on sarcasm, because our sarcasms are different. Mood shifts are different, especially with women, and how women function monthly. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
That's a little month. Oh, okay, I get you. I got
Yes, yes,
you. How we
yes.
function.
Amen.
I've never heard it said quite that way. How we function monthly. I was like, how we got you. I got it.
So yeah, that
Right.
compounded with the stigmas that we organically face with women being highly emotional and men kind of being considered on a lower level of emotional acknowledgement or realization.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so we battled that to the core of it. There's some other stuff that I won't share at this time because it's just so new. I don't. So just like 2 other things that I hold dear to my heart that started to kind of
Yeah.
wait. You understand? And so it was a struggle for me to either say these are deal breakers and I'm out, but I chose to stay
Yeah.
and continue to work because I said, look, bro, you've been single for how many years before her? What? You're a weird dude as it is. Like, I was doing that whole thing trying to bring myself to reality. Like, it's not going to be a perfect process. Just because you have these standards, that's cool. However, life happens, things happen. Are you able to forgive? Are you able to, and how are you able to do that? So I was working all types of angles to minister to myself so that I didn't give up. So unfortunately, one of us stopped working and decided that, hey, I'm done fighting for it. And so, yeah.
So you're
She
saying
broke up
out of
with me.
the relationship, she checked out. She checked out emotionally, and then eventually it was physically, and she
Um,
left the relationship. And I don't mean physically, like sexually physically. I'm saying removing herself physically out of the relationship, because it
right.
typically starts emotionally, and then physically you leave the relationships by saying, I no longer want this. So
Right.
how was that conversation like? So did she come to you and say, hey, Calvin, I know she didn't call you brother Calvin. I would hope not. But, but saying, Calvin, hey, it's not working anymore. And I know you said that there was a communication issue. And of course, as we know, there are 3 major indications of a relationship having difficulties at that time, and that's sex, money, and communication. And it was difficult for you to communicate with one another as far as having a conversation, sitting down, speaking to her, or just
All of
revealing
the
or being
above.
vulnerable. Okay.
Okay, so usually when people say communication issues, in my experience, they're usually talking about one not being willing or holding back, like trying to get
Okay.
more,
So
trying to
vulnerable.
like talk to me, like I don't want to know more. Like, it wasn't that to me. It was literally understanding how each other communicates, our personality wise, and it was a
Got
lot of
you.
clashing, a whole lot of clashing that was in my mind unnecessary. Once I was able to explain after the clash, because my thing is the initial clashes could have kept happening. That was fine as long as when we started to talk about it and we both explained our sides, we then took the other side. So if I say something to offend you, and I say that green shirt doesn't compliment your left eye, your left eyeball, and then
And I'd be
I'm
like,
thinking,
what you mean? This green
right,
works with my eye just fine. It would
and then
just automatically be, instead of, so what do you mean? Well, what do you not like about green? It would automatically go maybe from 0 to 9.5.
well, that, but not only that, but she would get stuck there. So how you just said, well, what do you mean? Like, this is my favorite color. I do this. This is my color. And then I might come back and say, well, Kendall, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that maybe it's my camera, but on this conference, the light is, I guess it's a light that's shining on the left eye. Maybe that's why it is. That's not what I meant. Then you could probably be like, oh, okay, so I get, maybe it's some technical issues. Even explaining that, she would still be there as if the explanation didn't happen. And then we had conversations like, okay, she was telling me just because I explained is something that annoyed her. So I'm like, wait, what?
Wait,
So you, huh?
So she, okay, okay. And again, this is just the truth. We're not bashing anybody, but this is Brother Calvin's experience. So, and that's who I'm interviewing right now. So I think you're being very respectful because you're not bashing. So that's not what this is about. I just want to be clear about that. But you're saying if something was wrong, even when you try to correct it and say, hey, it's not like that, it's like this, instead of saying, oh, see what you're saying, she would hold on to that and continue just conflict.
The response would be, you don't understand my feelings, you don't care about my feelings. And I'm like, all right. So we tried to work through different scenarios, different ways that I could say it, different questions I could ask in order to get that. And so it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of, this is the issue, and let's try such and such and such so that you can get what you want. And it was always, if it didn't go her way, it's not going. And I'm like, babe, that's not how life works. Like, because I'm not saying the perfect thing, in response, you are pulling out what you like, that you're looking for. I feel like you're looking for something negative to like pick every time we talk, and that's not gonna work. I said, because I don't do that to you. That's the thing. I said, name a time when I've done stuff like that. Like, please name a time. I challenged her to find a time where, because at one point she was saying that she thought I needed more time to process what she was saying before I responded to a lot of things, because she wasn't liking what I was saying. So if we talk something out and I still don't agree with you, that just means we should be able to agree to disagree. It doesn't mean I don't care about your
Absolutely.
feelings, I don't like you, and it don't mean any of that. It just means you're not
Right.
hearing what you want to hear right now.
Right.
And so what I would say is her process was longer than mine. And so she felt like that meant she was giving more deeper consideration to what I was saying. And I'm like, so name a time. So we're going to go back into this back and forth all day. So I said, this is what we're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Your challenge is to tell me a time when I've responded to something you said and it has not been, substantive to what you told me or what you were saying prior to that. Tell me when I've responded and I've been way somewhere else. I said, you can't. And she kind of
Yeah.
blushed and laughed in that moment, because I was like, because I'm right. Because I'm a man that listens because
Yeah.
I want to be listened to. But that wasn't enough. We would continue
That's
to come back to those issues as if that conversation didn't happen. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. But I'm here to figure it out. If we're going to figure it out.
So did you find yourself having petty arguments all the time? Did you have more arguments than you did happy times because of little things happening in the relationship and in the communication? Or was it that you just felt like you weren't evenly yoked? Or did you feel that one was being heard, one wasn't, one person's needs were being met, the others wasn't? What do you find the real reason to be? I know communication, I know you talked about that, but do you think it was something else behind that?
So communication has so many subcategories under it that unfolded with
Yeah.
us. For example, I'll say there were a couple of things that I can't say was the reason to yet, because they're very deep. And so out of respect, I don't want to go there. But the main, like in the communication piece, I feel like, honestly, walking away, I'm like, she wanted to hear what she wanted to hear. And she was, she had an issue with control, which is, she told me that when we first started dating, but I didn't know to what degree until more recently. We first started dating, last year, it was everything was beautiful and everything. And she told me that. And then.
So she told you that she likes to be in control.
Well, she said, in her words, she's a control freak. She even said that on her podcast. She has her podcast with her friends. But of course, that was that episode was also before she met me too. But she still told me that. So she was honest with it, said she was working on it. I'm like, cool, because character flaws we all have. I got stuff that I think I know everything. You know what I'm saying? I talk a lot. So those are things that I feel like we all have them. That doesn't mean we're not good for each other.
Don't
it
throw
means
somebody away. It doesn't throw somebody away just because they have character flaws. We all have them. It's just finding somebody that's willing to work with your mess and you're willing to work with their mess, and then you're coming together to grow together, to both be better individuals so you can be better in a relationship.
Right. Now I can take the mood swings. I can take all. I handled her with care, with I'm telling you, like the stuff, like this. I thank God for the patience that I have, because y'all women are very interesting gifts.
So are y'all. Look, so are y'all. We could do battle of the sexes for about 30 seconds. I know we are, but what am I? I know you are, but what's I?
Right. And so I'm just like,
right. Because let me just tell you, let me just keep it real. Men and women got some stuff with them. It's really trying to find the right man who will check you on your stuff, and not only check you on your stuff, but help you grow, in your stuff to get to the other side. And that's really what it's about. It's not about not being with someone because they're different or the differences. We all are a mess. It's just finding somebody who can handle our mess as men and women. It's both of us.
Right. So she basically was trying to change me, not like change us together. That's what I'm with. I'm with all of that. Let's change us together. Let's do that. but you just want to change me. And there's a couple of things like the last 2 years of our relationship, I was like bringing to the light, like, you want me to change this, but you don't want to change it. Like, I'll give you an example. I didn't know until this month, actually, or last month, that me having my phone out while we're together, period, is an issue. I didn't know. Because I don't be like this. You know what I'm saying? I might look at something or say we outside and we don't, it's not a planned thing. We just chilling. We just us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we
Mm-hmm.
just looking around and maybe I just do a text real quick. You know what I'm saying? Or it's a couple of them at certain throughout. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, what you say, babe? Oh, all right. But it's not, it
So
was
she
never.
didn't want you to use your phone at all if you guys were out.
Right.
At all.
She called that quality time, right? However,
Okay.
she would answer FaceTime calls while we're out. So I don't have an issue with the phone. I have an issue with the fact that you have an issue with only me doing it. So I'm like, well, what's the difference? If we're gonna work here together, why am I being made the bad guy? It's like you're trying to go in a negative direction, trying to create me as some kind of monster. You get what I'm saying? It's like I felt like
Yeah,
I was attacked. I mean, not attacked. I was made to blame for stuff. And
I
I was just
got you.
like,
Yeah.
woo, that's a
Yeah.
lot. To continue to do that, that's a lot.
That is a lot, and it does take its toll on you after a while, especially if you're having petty arguments and you feel like you can't do anything right and you feel like everything you
Mhm.
do is not right or it's bothering her or causing grief or problems or issues in the relationship. It's almost like you're kind of walking on eggshells. You don't know what to do and how to act, and you don't know how she's going to respond. And again, this is just this, a lot of times this happens in relationships where you're really trying to find your way. So it is a possibility that you might have been able to, find your footing in the relationship. But once somebody ends the relationship,
What you gonna do? Right,
and
at that point.
right, right. So what have you learned? What was the biggest thing you learned in this relationship? Because I do believe when relationships end, it's time to self-reflect and to think about ourselves and what we've done in the relationship, and not necessarily meaning what you've done wrong, but how did you respond? How did you act? What did you learn? What did she teach you? Because that might just have been a seasonal relationship just to prepare you and to propel you into the relationship that you're supposed to be in. I'll put it in your terms. That might have been the rehearsal for the play. That might be the rehearsal for the main event, for you to learn.
It's unfortunate to say it like that when you thought that was the event, It's interesting to use the word seasons because that's
Right.
what I used on Facebook when I posted about it. I posted about it the day it happened because I'm like, okay, I move on very quickly.
Oh, gosh.
And I told her that, yes, I
Yeah.
was in love. Yes, I was ready to be married and have kids. But when I saw what I saw and experienced what I experienced, which I have not shared yet, and I knew I was in, and I knew I was trying, that's what I'm saying, trying, right? And I knew I had not been disrespectful. I have not betrayed trust intentionally. I have not, haven't done like anything of on the offense
Mm-hmm.
intentionally. All my stuff is just me being me is offensive at that point. I
So no
forgot.
matter what you would have done, it wouldn't have worked. That's basically what you're saying.
So check out the timeline. So when we started dating May of last year, May of last year is when we first started hanging out. I'm sorry, and then like maybe 4 months later, maybe August, September-ish, September, I think, is when we started dating officially. Then I was like, when we dating, I was like, I'm really feeling her. I feel like we need to, make it official. I said, but I might be moving in my head. I was like, I might be moving too fast. I might want to wait 3 months into like next year, like spring-ish. So it would have been like the end of last month. I was thinking April, what's this, April, January, February, end of March / this month is when I initially was thinking of making it official. But I asked myself, I just kept looking at us. Our vibe was so dope. Like we were just flowing. I was like, this has to be God because I didn't expect to date anybody at my job. And then it's us. And so anyway, I was like, what am
And
I
she must be.
expecting?
Yeah, she must be a special lady. And of course you saw the
She's
beauty in
amazing.
her. And that doesn't just because you guys didn't work out. She was a special lady. So
She's
just to even
amazing.
experience that and to really learn, yeah, and grow. And I hate, you liked her, and I can tell. We didn't talk about it
I loved
much,
her.
but we did when I saw it. And I
I
can
do.
tell. And I said, well, wow, like, who is this? I think I hit you up like, who is this? Because you looked good together. You seemed like you gelled together. Seemed like you had a lot in common.
We have
You
so
seemed
much
like
in
it
common.
seemed like the vibe was there. Yeah, you can tell even when a picture, because they say a picture says 1,000
Other
words,
words.
and it looked like you guys were vibing. I thought I was about to go to a wedding. Not a wedding, a wedding.
A
A
wet,
wedding.
wet.
A wedding.
So I mean, I
But
asked myself,
what was the big part you?
let me see. I think I'm still working on that because it just happened last week. So
Oh,
I'm still
oh my goodness. Yeah.
right a
And
couple days ago.
wow.
So like maybe 6 days ago or last
Oh,
week. So,
Calvin, I'm so sorry.
well,
I
thank you
am.
for your concern. Thank you. Um, and now check this weird thing out. I'm like, I let God do God. I feel like I'm still open to the possibility that maybe she still is the one, but it's just not right now. That's something that I'm
You
not
know what?
opposed to.
That's
I'm not.
and that's possible. So
Some
you're
people.
willing, if you guys can work out those issues, and maybe even counseling, and just really trying to see how to communicate with one another better, even coaching. I'm available for relationship coaching. But
Mhm.
anyway, not even me, but even if you go to a counselor or go to church or have a mediator, just to try to get through those small challenges and really try, because you might just be working out the kinks.
Mhm.
Only you and her know, but if she wanted to be back in the relationship, would you consider that?
So that's what I was thinking of before we broke up. So in my head, that's something you do before you make a drastic decision like break up. Why isn't it what you said? Let's do moderator, whatever. And again, to my fault, I didn't mention. We talked about like talking to my sister or sitting down with so and so and so and so. We were open to that, but we didn't directly in detail be like, excuse me. So when are we gonna sit down with somebody? Neither one of us did that. However, I still was
Mm-hmm.
in it for all of that, is what I'm saying. So I feel like the answer is no right now because that should have happened before the break. I'm like, that's just another thing I felt was a testament or a proof to the fact that she just moves out of emotion instead of letting
Gotcha.
stuff breathe. You know what I'm saying? Like
Gotcha. Instead of
your
being
instinct
emotional
is
and
to
tell.
your instinct is to break up instead of, you get what I'm saying? So yes. So what I'm saying is I'm open to what God is going to do. That's my answer for that.
Yeah, but
I'm not
that's good.
opposed
And
to it.
you definitely, you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you, period, because you are worth more. Anybody is worth more. If somebody else, if you're in a relationship with someone and it's not
Mhm.
working out and you're unable to communicate and really talk about the issues and try to fine tune what's really going on, because I guarantee you it was something a little deeper going on in the
Mhm.
relationship. You might not even know about it, but something
We know about
deeper.
it.
It could be past. It could be,
Mhm.
yeah, okay. So you do know about it. So
We
because
know.
it
I'm just not
definitely
going to speak
seems
on it.
like, and I right, and I don't want you to, and I don't want you to, because that truly is your business.
Mhm.
But I kind of figured there is something else. But hopefully she finds who is right for her, and hopefully you do the same, because I really believe everybody deserves love. Everybody
Yes.
deserves to walk around with a smile on their face, but you got to have the right one, and that right one is still out there for you. And I want you definitely to experience love, love
Yeah.
and procreate. You want to have children because you don't have children, and you've never
I'm so
been
ready.
married, right?
Never. Never to both of those.
Yeah.
Your boy ready.
And how old are you, Cal? How
36.
old are you?
I have 36.
Okay. Yeah.
It's time.
Yeah. Well, men, you have time. You can have children till you're about 80.
I mean, not really. Not if I
You
want to be
still
an
have
active
time.
father.
That's true. That's true. Well, I pray that before you're 40 years old, you will find that wife.
Hey.
And you will have those children. Let's go for twins, Lord. Let's give
That's
them
what
twins
I
first
kept messing
time
with her
around.
like that. I kept messing with her. I said, we're going to have triplets so you can just knock it out one time.
Right.
You don't got to worry
One
about,
time.
getting your body back all 3 times.
Right.
She was like, what we going to do? Triplets. Woo!
Right. Right.
So
I'm just looking at the time. We got a little bit of time left. So
okay.
What is your outlook on love now? What is it that you want from a woman? What kind of love do you want? And I know you want to get married and kids, but what does Calvin want to make your soul feel good when you talk about love?
The woman that's going to accept me for me and be able to hear my deepest, darkest and not judge me, right? Even if you're not going to agree with the deep and dark, because that's why it's the deep dark.
Right. Right.
But not judge me. And the stuff that I'm saying it's not related to anybody in the past. This is just to answer the question for what I'm looking for.
Right.
A woman who is fun, who wants so much out of life, that has like a laundry list of exciting things that she can't even keep track of. That's spontaneous, that wants to travel, that wants to do more. Like, cause you know how when you hear somebody talk, right, you can discern so many things, like if they really want more out of life without them saying the literal words, I want more out of life. You can have a conversation and tell, like, this person has a zest for life,
right.
a zest for discovering more,
Right.
for sharing love, for helping people. The ministry side is important too in terms of love, because to love me, you have to understand your own relationship with God. So that's big. Like in my relationship, we prayed together in my last relationship, and everything. And so that's very paramount to its success, to the thriving of any love, any love.
Yeah.
And it's more
because this video, you never know who might see this video. You never know. This might be a love connection video. This might be an ad right here. This might be the ad for your love.
Come on. Long walks in the park, picnics on the beach.
I'm going to get my notebook. What are the top 3 things you want out of a woman, Calvin?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right, so we got a couple of minutes left, but seriously, let's do that. So, quickly, what are the top 3 qualities you're looking for in a woman? Because a man who findeth a wife
findeth a good thing.
Rest. That's right.
Aside from the physical, because when I would answer those questions, I would say she has to be attractive to me. And people will be like, but what about her personality? And I'm like, well, hello, you don't meet somebody's personality from across the room.
Right.
You see a silhouette, you see the side of a face maybe that makes you see something physical that is either going to attract you or not attract you in that way. So I'm looking for someone who is athletic, athletic toned, who takes care of their hygiene. That's the physical stuff.
So he said in shape, and you got to smell good, ladies. Okay,
come on with it. Take care of yourself. Wash a little bit.
Tell a woman in that type of way. A woman should always smell good. Okay, amen.
Right, but deeper than that, of course, an amazing person. Like I use the term electric personality. That's how I describe my personality. That could be described as goofy is the easiest thing to compare it with, because if somebody's goofy, they're usually like bouncing off the walls. But then there's a pleasant side that's like bright and accepting and spontaneous and about everybody winning and about unity. Like, that's the countenance I'm looking for in a queen. Someone who demands respect, who is proud of who they are, who knows who they are and knows what they want, knows what they will not accept, what they will accept, and why. Like I said, it's been last week, so I haven't really even delved more into it. It's like almost like you also know when you have her. You know what I'm saying? You just know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, without getting into the physical, like that's, I mean, more, more physical or sexual. But like the love is unconditional. It's that ride or die. It's that fight for
Mm-hmm.
you, fight for me type of love. Like, yeah. And I
So
call it
you
vibe
looking,
too. I also
so
call it
your
vibe.
Lucius,
Huh?
the vibe. So your Lucius is looking for your cookie, or your Obama
Oh
is
no!
looking
Oh,
for your
no! Please don't do
Michelle.
Lucius and Cookie. Please don't say Lucius and Cookie. We don't want that kind of a love. No, no, no.
So you don't want her to have served 17 years,
And I
but
don't want to be the one that's killing people and hiding them under the carpet either. No, and cheating on
but you want
her
your
and bringing it. No, we're not doing that. Michelle and Barack, you was right with that.
Michelle. But you
Russell and
gotta, but
Sierra.
every
Russell and,
woman gotta have a little bit of cookie in her. You gotta have a little bit,
oh
and
yeah,
that's
no, I love.
the
Yeah,
excitement part, right? You got
I
just a
love
little bit,
sassy.
just a little cheetah.
I love feminine. I love dainty women. I love women who are
Yeah,
feminine, who are. It's something about that, just yay. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like know what you want, and you'll be
Mm.
able to recognize it when you find it.
It is a
Even
vibe.
though your ex was right, it's definitely a vibe, and even
Mhm.
though your ex had all of the qualities that you wanted in a woman and that you want in a woman, and I'm sure again she is a special lady, but
Uh-huh.
that might have been just to restore your faith in love and knowing that that person that you want is out there, and it may not have been her. And I know it's only 6 days in and it's still
Mhm.
raw and it's still very real to you, and
It was
you
us. It was
yeah,
us very much so. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, hey, we don't know what God has in store. We don't know if he's going to return her and you're going to accept her, or she's going to have a change of heart and
Mhm.
God works on her heart. We don't know. I just pray for the best for you. Whoever is meant to be for you, I pray that they come to you soon so you can have these babies.
Yes.
And so you
And I
can
mean,
have, most importantly, a healthy, happy love.
yes. I mean, I told my ex, I suggested that we be friends. I was like, I would love for us to be friends. And so we're taking that process too, to be friends. Because how she would explain it when we would tell our love story and how we was doing
Mm-hmm.
double dates and stuff. She always looked at me and thought of me as that we were going to be best friends. So that's how she used to see me before she really saw me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still possible. But yeah, like you said, it's time to be back vigilant. And again, I'm back to where I was before I was with my ex, to where I'm chilling. Like I'm not
Yeah.
content, I'm not coasting, um,
Yeah.
but I'm not digging through. I'm watchful, paying
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
I pray that you get all you want in your career and in your personal life, as well as those children, the children
Yeah.
that you want and desire. I pray that you get your heart's desires. I know that you're doing a lot of things and we're coming to the end, and I'm so glad. I'm sure you'll be back. So if you want to hear more of Calvin, he will definitely be back on one of my platforms. But I want to talk about the Faith Factor Insta Live series. Did I get it
Yeah.
right?
You said it right.
Okay. Okay. All right.
So on this Sunday, I don't know when this show airs or will be available for the public, but on April 26th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I launched the Faith Factor Insta Live series. Now, this first one is geared towards, and a lot of them will be geared towards fashion, but it's the entertainment industry with people of faith that I work with. Excuse me, and down the road there will be people that I haven't worked with yet, or I haven't even met, but follow their work. And so it'll start with y'all just gotta tune in to see how it's structured, but it's all gonna be based on scripture, and it's gonna be based on personal testimony from each guest in terms of
Mm.
what from the Word of God inspires us to do what we do. That's how the conversations will all start. And so I'm excited about that. I get to highlight the amazing people that I've worked with, and some of the people I have, like I said, I haven't or want to, or trying to pull celebrities into that I'm trying to build relationships with as well. That's going to be great. And at some point, I got to get you in there as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I would love to. I would love
Absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
I think this is an awesome idea. This
Yes.
is
I
really
finally
good.
have a platform that I can share with you.
Creator.
Yeah, yeah. Did you
But
hear what I
that's
said?
good.
I said
So,
I finally have a platform that I can share with you now. Like you done put me on
oh,
every platform from here to Jamaica. Yes, I
it's
can't
a
wait.
little lapse, so I did. I would love to come into your social media home, really, because
Yes.
that's what content creators do. That's what creatives do, period. You're discovering different ways to bring in your faith, to bring in
Mhm.
your profession, to bring in the people that you love, to network, to meet new people. That's really what it's about. And I think this quarantine has taught a lot of people the precious how precious life is, and just
Mhm.
really how creative they are, because people are coming up with different creative ways to do what they do and just take it up a notch. So I hope people keep this same energy after the quarantine is over, because I see a lot of people on social media stepping up their game, doing things differently, taking other routes when they thought that the one that they were taking was the only route. So
Right.
I'm excited to see what the future has, not only for everyone else, but especially for you and all that you're doing. Are you working on any other projects before we end, outside of
I'm,
what you're doing with Live?
yes, I'm working on one, but I don't want to say because it's been so long. I don't want to say, but you know, once it's ready, it's gonna be on and popping. Um,
Okay.
yeah. So what I'm doing now is just networking. I think I'm on a mission now to see how many people's Instagram open mics I can perform on now. That's become a thing for me.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
the first one I did was Rodney Perry's. So he saw I did a Corona free concert on Instagram. I did one on Facebook. Then the week after that, did one on Instagram. So Rodney Perry, he liked the flyer for the concert. Not only that, but he actually tuned in for the concert and like sent a little emoji or something doing. I was like, wow, okay. So I reached out, but he invited
That's
me.
so funny that you said that, because he popped in one of my lives too. So he must be trying to, look at
He
all the
on a mission.
untapped talent. So
He's
that's
on a
good.
mission. Yeah.
That's up.
I don't know
That's
what the
what's up.
mission is, but yeah, like you said. So I'm hoping. So when I was on his open mic, after I sung, I thanked him. I was like, thank you for tuning into my concert. He was like, man, I'm a fan. You're talented.
Wow.
And then
That's
while I
all.
was on his, Tangerine Thomas was watching. She was commenting like, "You
She's
sound
a
great."
comedian, right? She's a
Yes,
comedian.
an actress. Yeah. So she was like, "You should come on my show." So I filmed her show the other day. So it's just like a domino effect of networking and opportunities. I'm hoping that I can build relationships with all of these people. So just like you and I, we always work together. Like when this is over,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be in their
Yeah.
films. I'm trying to open for Rodney Perry. I'm trying to,
Yeah.
what's up? Like, what we doing?
I think but you know what? That's what you got to do. And that's what a
Yeah.
go-getter is. You don't sit around and wait for someone to give you something. And I keep saying content creator because, and everybody uses that buzzword, but there are
Mhm.
certain people who do create content for themselves. They get themselves out there and they make it happen. And you are one of them. Every time I turn around, every time I see your social media, you got something going on. So I don't want you to lose that. I don't want you to
Thank you.
lose that even when you find love. I don't want you to lose that grind and that hustle, and
Hmm.
because you're trying to reach a goal here. You're
Hmm.
trying to get to a certain level in your career, and you're not taking any shorts. You really are going after your dreams. And that's what I always talk about. And this is to everybody listening. People say, just go after your dream, chase your dream. No, you have to run your dreams down like a thief in the night and grab your dreams. You got to chase them, right? You got to
Yeah.
choke them, like, come on. But you really have to, because
Yeah.
unfortunately, if you didn't do that, you don't know who, well, first of all, you don't know who sees you on social media anyway, but you are
Exactly.
making yourself seen, and you are taking advantage of the things that people are doing. So all of the creatives, if you want anything in your future, get on social media, because so many people are home quarantined and they're creating things, they're doing things, they're looking for people, and they are on social media now more than ever. I
Yes.
guarantee you, Harry is probably looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably something.
You know it. I'm gonna tell you offline. I'm gonna tell you about another one. We get offline. That one that's coming up. I'm gonna tell you about that one that I'm excited about.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
so some projects are coming up. The Faith Factor Insta Live series. I'm gonna try to do 2 a month. Usually on a Sunday or a Thursday, both at 9:30 p.m. Of course, the
Okay.
flyer will drop after on the day of the first, whatever day, like Sunday, the flyer will drop for the next one after that show, and so on and so on.
Okay.
So yeah,
Perfect.
I'm excited about that.
All right, so before we end, I know people are like, well, what was the Wendy Williams thing about? We just have a couple of minutes. We went over a little bit, but I knew we would, so we're okay. So
Okay.
just tell us how you, like I was just saying, you put yourself in position. Mm-hmm. Tell people how you got to be on national TV on the Wendy Williams show. And I saw that clip, by the way.
Yes. So I went to the Wendy Williams show. You know, it's free to get tickets to go see any of those shows in New York or LA. And I was like, well, Wendy has those things where people can ask questions. I was like, but if you go on the Wendy show, your question gotta be juicy. Right. So I was like, I was like trying to decide between 2 or 3 scenarios that was juicy, that was real. And so I was like, one is real, but I don't want to put nobody out. So I had to tweak it a little bit and switch up some stuff. So I told the story about a run-in with the Cougars that is real. And so I didn't know everybody had to submit questions in the audience. All of us had a paper. We had to write down questions, and they picked mine. The girl said, oh, we definitely going to use yours. So they ask you, are you comfortable reading on camera? I was like, yes. And in my head, I'm like, wait, is this happening? Like, I went there with the intent to get on TV. I was like, I just want to get exposure on national TV. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but it's Wendy. I'm a fan of her show. My major was broadcasting, so I watch all types of shows. I'm a fan of her show, so I know how it works in terms of what sections are in there. So I was like, is this happening right now? All the way until the time of the show when it's run, they're like, all right, you're going to be up first or third, whatever I was. I was like, oh, snap, it's my time. I'm literally standing there talking to her, and I'm still like, this is not real. Like, that's why I was stuttering. Like, I think I left out. She asked me where you from and what you do, I think. 2 of those questions I didn't even get to ask because I was so busy. I was trying to get into the moment, like, it's happening. Then I was like, well, what's my story again? I was like, oh, wait. And then it was amazing.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But you put yourself in that. Wendy has good skin, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Wendy has good skin, doesn't she?
Well, I don't think I was really focusing on skin at the time. Like, I just
always saying that she has good skin.
It was so much going on.
Yeah, but that's awesome that you put yourself in that position, and your goal was to be on a major network and national TV, and you put yourself in the position to do just that. So keep on doing what you're doing, Brother Calvin. People are watching. Not only am I watching, but Rodney Perry is watching, and you never know who's watching you. So continue on your grind, continue that hustle, and continue it with the integrity that you have, because that integrity and that love for God is going to carry you to the next phase of your life.
Thank you so much, Queen. Thank you for always including me. I appreciate the love. Absolutely.
You're so welcome. And thank you for answering the calls. I appreciate that.
Yes.
So we can go on and on and on about the admiration because it really is there and it really is genuine. But I thank you so much. My goal every time, everything I do is to educate, to elevate, and entertain you. So I hope you're entertained, and I hope you are educated, and I hope somehow through Calvin's story, you are elevated. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kendell Lenice. Please like and share as well with everybody you know. Just share it, because Brother Calvin, you're going to want to see him on this show, because you're going to see him a lot more in the future. And if you are a single woman,
yes.
If you are single, dial not 888, no.
888,
all
love
right,
a
so
brother.
I'm going to leave you. I love it, brother. Right. So I am going to leave you as my guest with the last word. And I know that I was chit-chatting, laughing, and we were having a good time. So hopefully it translates well. It's nothing but respect and love for you, my brother. So I will leave you with encouraging words for someone who is trying to get into any business, but they're afraid to show the God in them.
I would say if you are ashamed to show the God in you, then I would say you need to step back from any type of entertainment or frontline spotlight type of work, because that's heavy. If you're not ready to show God in you in whatever way that you know for yourself you're not doing, because it's different for all of us. So it's that self-regulation. You already know in your heart that is what you're not doing. So if you're not able to do that, you got to step back. Talk to God, ask him to help you love him, ask him to help him to reveal himself to you more, and in a way that you can even understand more, and to show you what those issues are for the reason that you can't, because there's a reason that you're shy about it. It's not anything to look over. It's a reason or two, and it's good to look into that, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll say it's a part of growth. We all have to grow, and for some people it's now. Some people have done it before. And when you grow from here, you're gonna have to grow from where you grow from. That's the
Mhm.
cycle of life until we die. It's gonna be a continuous process of growth and getting better and seeking the Lord more and finding out more of who we are in Him. And so I would encourage you to do that, because if it's not in
Well
your
said.
heart, it's not gonna show up in your craft. If He's not in your heart,
Mm,
if His
mm,
anointing is not guiding you, your craft is gonna
mm.
suffer, and nobody's going to be blessed by it.
That's good. Mm. Well, you heard it from Brother Calvin. It got to be right in here, because whatever you do in life, whatever field you're in, it's not going to translate well, and you are not going to be blessed in that if you are just holding it in and you're not doing it for the glory of God, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's it. That's all. Thank you so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate you, every single one of you. Remember, don't forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, God bless. Say bye, Calvin.
See y'all, babe.